And hello again. We're back after quite a long hiatus. Nice part about video is that you really can't see the time lapse, but it's been weeks since I've been able to get back to my art from my full-time job, which has just been exhausting me. So even when I have the energy to paint, I try to find the creativity sometimes. So I haven't gotten back to it. We are actually at a point now where we're pretty much done with the airbrushing. Over the past 2 or 3 days, all of what I've pretty much done is gone over the main colors to highlight them, bring them out even more. The blue, as you can see, the green of her tail, and as well as the mermaid herself. What we're working on now is the hair. As I said, we're pretty much done with the airbrushing because with the hair and all the other small parts, it's a little too difficult to get the detail without crossing over into some of the other issues, other areas, I mean. So what we'll be doing is we'll actually be finishing the hair with the gold airbrush paint, even though we'll be applying it by hand. And then we'll be working on the other areas, such as, in particular, the air bubbles, the water bubbles that are all over, splashing all over our mermaid. Her face, obviously, her shells. We've got a couple of shells there, and the froth of the waves. Those are the areas. We're almost done, actually. This is the tail end of our project. Sometimes I also slow down during this time because I don't know, I've worked so hard on it, I kind of don't want it to just end, but we're actually at the point now where we can actually wrap this up in a day or two if we try. So, again, we're using the airbrush paint gold. What we did yesterday was we highlighted her hair again with the yellow basically yellow acrylic paint, and then we'll apply the gold to bring out the sheen, and we'll do it a couple times because we're doing it by hand again. So, let me make sure you can see this as I do this. We're going to carefully go over all the gold tresses in her hair, basically, and probably more than once, to make sure that we capture that sheen that we had before and that we want to keep. So what we'll do is, as we always do, we'll paint, we'll let it dry, see how it comes out, see if it needs more, another coat. In this case, since we're going for sheen, it's very likely that we will put another coat on here. The large areas of her hair we actually didn't touch because we didn't get near enough with the Titan buff that we used for the skin tone. So we're mainly interested in recapturing the lower areas of her hair. This might be a good time for me to go into my discussion, one-sided discussion as it were, about why people charge so much for their art. Because it's been on my mind. If you look at my website or my Etsy site or whatever else page I have my stuff on, you'll see that the pieces I have on there are relatively costly for, say, myself and people who know me and things like that. So, but on the other hand, they don't really seem, they're not really that expensive to me and to other artistic people I've talked to, mainly my brother and my sister-in-law, who have given me advice on this matter. How much should you charge for something like this? It all comes down to, the big question is, how much is your time worth? We all have jobs, we all get paid salary or hourly or whatever the case may be, except for those who are retired, of course, but everyone got paid. And it all breaks down to a certain wage, hourly percentage of your time for the work that you do. So what is that? Of course, it changes region to region. The cost of living in Virginia being what it is, my time would be said to be more valuable than it is in North Carolina, where the cost of living is relatively less, and where Angela and I can live okay on what we make without having to go nuts about it. So back to the topic here. What is my time worth? Now, if you go by that, it almost becomes impossible to price your art, because how much time do you spend on it? I've spent literally, you can't even imagine how many hours I've spent on this one piece. Planning it, executing it, going over it, re-executing it after I change my mind. So we don't even get into the cost of goods. We're still just talking about cost of manpower. That almost puts it out of reach in terms of art. You can't put a price on the time you spend on this, because then it would already be cost prohibitive. it almost, your time almost can't be measured in how much you price your things, because once you crank it out in a in a production type environment, this is not, you cannot figure your time into this. So you just figure how much you paid for it. How much did you pay for this piece? How much did you pay for your paints, the goods that you needed to pull this off? I guess what it really comes down to in the end, slip of the hand there. What it really comes down to in the end is, how much is it worth to you? Because, see, that's the thing. You put it on a site, you go to a gallery or something, or a show, and you put a price on this. Okay, well, the thing is, suppose somebody does buy it. On the one hand, that's what you were after, right? That's why you did it. But on the other hand, it's gone forever. And once you sell it to somebody else, or give it away, as I've given away a lot of my art, it's gone. It's gone forever. From you, anyway. And that's when you just hope that the person who gets it, buys it, receives it, treasures it like you treasured it. But I think that that's one of the things that guides us. I have pieces on sale for $75, $70, $80, $100. I actually want to increase that price, because if somebody were to pay for it, the person who would pay that much for it would appreciate it. And on the other hand, if I never sell it, then I get to keep it. And maybe just me get to looking at it and enjoying my own work all the time, but damn, I work so hard on this stuff, and sometimes you don't want to give it up. So, again, in the end, I think that's why we may price things as we do, because we want someone to buy it, but we don't. If nobody ever buys this, then, well, I don't feel terrible, because then I still have it to look at. But God almighty, if someone buys the things that are on sale, you can't even put a price. Hiking Santa, I think, is one of my more expensive pieces on my site, for like $70. My goodness, that doesn't even touch the amount of time, the amount of hours, the amount of effort, the amount of love that I put into getting that piece to the point that was what I wanted. So you see, jeez, we all may die with studios full of art, and maybe that's why everything only takes value when it's posthumous, because then it goes to somebody who doesn't have that investment that we have, so it's easy for them to give it up. And then that's when it starts reaching different markets and different people, and it's when you see people get noticed and their stuff appreciated. Um, these pieces of art that we do, they're pieces of us. They're not just pieces of art. They're heart and soul basically goes into this stuff, because there's just no other way I could ever pull this off if I didn't have the emotional involvement that I have in this stuff. This doesn't just have to be done. This has to be perfect. It has to be perfect because it's part of me, and it's what I demand in my food, in what I do well. I do very well, and this is just another example of it. So what am I saying? I guess I'm saying that if my art gets sold, that's wonderful. If it never gets sold, that's okay too. This, of course, already has a home. And as I mentioned in the very beginning, as I was painting this, it will not be sold by all accounts, because it is for friends of mine who are starting a new chapter in their lives, new house, new commitment, and this is just another part of it. Something to mark their chapter in life. As we all want to succeed, and we all want each other to succeed, especially in love and life. I think we can all do okay in our work, or do wonderful in our work, or whatever, but in the end, the thing to remember is it's just work. It's why when I go to work, I say I only come to work because that's what I'm there for. And when I leave there, that's not what I want to be known for. I do a great job when I'm at work, but it's certainly not my end all. Okay, so as you can see, we're getting that glistening back. As you can see, not just the natural sun catching all that nice as we dab on a little more of the gold, we hope that it brings out, catches the sun or the light in different ways, new ways. We have a little more gold here, so we're just gonna throw it on some trusses here and bring out some more. I'm gonna turn on the air conditioning in a minute. It's a little hot in this room. We don't get a lot of ventilation here, so. Alright, so I'm going to leave this here with you for a second, and I shall return.